Well. What's happening, people? This is what you need in the building. I'm talking to you guys, and we're going to talk some boxing, of course, today. Feel free to join in. Uh, got some weekend fights to talk about, some upcoming fights to talk about. We got a lot to talk about in boxing. So feel free to comment in this stream. I didn't alert anybody that I was going to stream, so this is kind of spontaneous. But I've been thinking about this entire day. So let's get to it. First things first, before I do anything, I always give all praise to the Most High God. Most High gets praise first. So we're going to start off with a piece of scripture. John chapter 19, verses 6 and onwards. And Pilate went outside and said to the people, I'm going to bring him out to you now. That is Jesus. But understand clearly, I find him not guilty of the crimes you speak of. Then Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and a purple robe. And Pilate said, Here is the man. And when they saw him, the leading priests and temple guards began shouting, Crucify him, crucify him. You crucify him. Pilate said, I find him not guilty. The Jewish leaders replied, By all laws, he ought to die because he called himself the Son of God. You gotta be kidding me, man. This is not a time to be calling me. I don't care who you are. Can you shut down? I'm gonna try. Sorry about that, people. I can't believe it. Like, nothing's happening all day, and then somebody decides to call me in the middle of my stream. It is what it is. The Jewish leaders replied, By our laws, he ought to die because he called himself the Son of God. When Pilate heard this, he was even more afraid. He took Jesus back to the headquarters again and asked him, Where are you from? Jesus gave him no answer. You won't talk to me, Pilate demanded. Don't you realize I have the power to release you or crucify you? Then Jesus said to him, You would have no power over me at all, unless it was given to you from above. So the one who brought me to you has the greater sin. Then Pilate tried to release him, but the Jewish leaders told him, If you release this man, you are not a friend of Caesar. Anyone who declares himself a king is a rebel against Caesar. When they said this, Pilate brought Jesus out to them again. Then Pilate sat down at the judgment seat of the platform that is called the stone pavement. It was now about noon of the day for the preparation of the Passover, and Pilate said to the people, Here's your king. Away with him, they yelled. Away with him, crucify him. What, crucify your king? Pilate asked. We have no king but Caesar, the leading priest shouted back. And Pilate gave Jesus to them to be crucified. A couple things I want to say about this. First of all, at the time, the Jewish leaders did have a king. He was called Herod. Herod was their king. But it will try to play politics to get rid of Jesus. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand. This is very important. When you are a bearer of truth, because this world is ordered in such a way that the leadership of the world, most of the leadership of the world, does not abide in truth, but in other things. When you abide in truth, you go against the leadership of the world and you go against a system. As a result, if you choose to walk the path of truth, they will either try to invalidate you or they will try to get rid of you. They cannot invalidate you. Most of the time, they can't invalidate you, so they try to eliminate you. Basically, what I'm saying is they will commit acts of murder, whether it is career murder, whatever it takes, they will try to eliminate you so that you will stop speaking, especially if you're a person of influence. This is the way the world has always been. Human nature is like this. The people at the very top are usually corrupt. This is what it is. They're compromised because other people that they meet at the top are compromised. And you either play ball with them or they eliminate you or ostracize you and keep you out. Now, I say all of this to say that what is happening in Palestine with Israel and Palestine is exactly that. But now we are seeing what the leadership is really about. The Western leaders who are supporting Israel in this venture, Israel, I have no problem with you supporting Israel. What I have a problem with is when you support Israel in genocide, contravening international law, blatant apartheid that is being maintained, and in allowing the people to starve, boxing them in so they cannot leave, and then targeting them and destroying them. Hold on a second. What the hell? I, as a citizen of the world, denounce what Netanyahu, his government, and the Israeli militia are doing in Palestine as we speak. It is grotesque and highly inhumane and against every single international law against humanity. This is a genocide happening. This is exactly what happened with the Nazis and the Jews being replayed before our eyes. So I am unapologetic in saying right now that the administration of Israel must be removed as Hamas, because Hamas has done the same grievous crimes, but not on a much smaller scale. They must be removed and they must be tried for crimes against humanity. All who are involved. And in addition, the people of Palestine and the people of Israel should be able to elect their leadership to replace these people. Palestine will be free of Hamas. Israel will be free of Netanyahu and his regime. Netanyahu has been ruling with an iron fist. He's been ruling not as a democratic leader, but in fact as a tyrant, like Vladimir Putin. He's been behaving like a tyrant and as a strongman or a madman, like Saddam Hussein, like Adolf Hitler, etc., Kim Jong-un, etc. So I say with no apology whatsoever that these people must be removed from power, these Zionist people, because they are Zionists, and they must not be replaced with other Zionists. And similarly for the people elect whoever else to replace them. I think peace will immediately happen once those two sets of people are removed from the equation. And I unapologetically say this. Okay? The grotesque crimes against humanity, and these people have the balls to do it for the whole world to see. And then not only that, but they are expressing genocidal language. They have also, even though they deny certain things, we've proven they are liars. No, you need to go. So the major problem is going to be removing them. It is only through the will of the people. It's only internally this can happen. The Palestinian people have to remove Hamas. It's up to them to do that. And the Israeli people, you will have to remove Netanyahu and his regime. And you will have to figure out how to do that. But at the end of the day, I must say to each of these people, because I know the Israeli people do not like what Netanyahu is doing. And I know that the Palestinian people do not like what Hamas is doing. They denounce Hamas. And the Israeli people denounce Netanyahu. These are the people bringing on this, antagonizing this situation to make it what it is. But in a way, this is a good thing, so the international community could get attention to the atrocities that have been happening for the last 50 years between Palestine and Israel, and even worsening, so that it brought about this particular result. I'm going to say that I speak the truth. Some people will try to discredit me. Some people, in fact, I am pro-Israel. I am pro-Israel, but I am not pro-Netanyahu. I am not pro what draconian measures that he's taking. I am not pro occupation of the West Bank. I am not pro Palestine not being recognized as a nation or state. I am not pro that. I'm going to say categorically, you know where I stand, and that is that. I do have a Jewish lineage through my Portuguese ancestry, but I will say this to you guys. I also love the Palestinian people because I am, in my opinion, since we can't see God like that, I'm what you call a humanist. I love humanity, you know, and I can see how these people don't care about humanity. They don't even care about their own people. Their own, the IDF, in incredible fire, trading of fire, killed out of the hostages that were there, only 2 survived that the Hamas had captured, and they were all alive. But when that exchange, the IDF killed in that exchange a number of hostages. Only 2 survived. In Israel, they are muzzling the Israelis who are against this war. The newspapers, Gal Gadot, who is a prominent Israeli, spoke about the death on both sides and mourning the Palestinians. And a newspaper, which is a state newspaper, immediately lashed out at her, trying to muzzle the Israeli people, put them in fear of saying something that would shake up the system. This is how Gestapo Netanyahu's regime is. It is not a democracy in Israel. It is very much a police state right now. They have bombed Christian churches. They have bombed Islamic hospitals and hospitals in general. They have bombed Christian hospitals. They don't care. They're destroying all the infrastructure of Palestine. After all these years of Palestine building back itself, they are destroying the infrastructure. They have killed families, and they're killing families as we speak. The international community needs to take a stand, and they must do an immediate trade embargo on Israel. Immediate. As of now. They must, until Israel ceases fire and bombing of Palestine. However, how do they deal with Hamas? Because they're starving out Hamas, they're starving out the roots, but Hamas is still functioning. This is where it must be internally. You must now give the Palestinian people incentive to give up Hamas to us, to deliver Hamas. For that to happen, it may take a little while, but Hamas is not in the best interest of the Palestinian people, as Netanyahu and his regime is not in the best interest of the Israeli people. Sanctions can easily be put down on Israel. Sanctions against the Palestinian people will do nothing. It has to be from inside. The Palestinian people who reject what Hamas is doing and abhor it and condemn it need to stand together and protest Hamas in Palestine. When Hamas starts to slaughter them, as they will, the next move for the Palestinian people will be to now not create a revolt, but to grab the immediate international community's attention as to their displeasure with Hamas, to call for snap elections to remove Hamas, or to call for a referendum. This is the next move. Now, why I say all of this is because they're killing our families, and you can't say you're going to go after Israel if you're not going after Hamas and any other Islamic so-called terrorist group. Because clearly, I have to put quotes on this, because if I'm not going to call the Israeli government a terrorist right now, which they are, then I cannot call Hamas and these other groups terrorist groups unless I put them both as terrorists, because they both are terrorists. Because Hamas is a political group. But Hamas has been treating its own people, the Palestinian people, very poorly as well. So, let me see if I can explain this situation in a nutshell. And I don't care how people feel about it. This is from my heart. I believe the Israelis and the Palestinians are family. They lived in peace in the 1500s and 1600s until some people from outside the region started coming in from Europe, the Ashkenazi Jews. And after the Jewish nation of Israel was established, some of the surrounding countries started attacking Israel. Israel won some wars against them because, again, they were financed by the United States of America and the Western world. But since then, America's taken a stance on Israel because of the oil and the access to the Middle East through Israel. And they have built them up into a military might, which they are. And Israel can do no wrong with the Western world. And so Israel is taking those liberties to form an apartheid regime to occupy the West Bank when the West Bank is not really part of Israel. It is almost like a no recognized state, but it is not a part of Israel. And Israel has taken that opportunity to not only form an apartheid regime in there, but also to persecute, ostracize, and oppress the people of Palestine. I will say this. That is unacceptable. And the time has come for the international community, whether it is us as content providers, to express, if the political governments do not have the strength of character and moral will to speak out against this, we as people, net citizens, and people of the world need to speak out and speak out loudly against this. Also recommending sanctions against Israel and sanctions against Hamas. The International Criminal Court is only as powerful as the people make it. We, the people, have to stand up against oppression. We, the people, have to stand up against dictators, tyrants, tyranny. It is the only way that we will win. And we outnumber them. We are 8 billion strong. Never forget that. More than 5 billion of us or 6 billion of us have access to the internet now. The world is a global stage. Let us show them what the real new world order is. You answer to us. Governments will have to jump, skip, and move when we say so. We need to stand together, ladies and gentlemen. We need to stand together and we need to care about what's happening, because if you don't care what's happening, guess what? It's going to come close to home, because they will take those liberties, not just with Palestine, but they will take liberties with you and me, and they are doing it already. And it's the same set of people behind this war in Palestine who will come for you and come for me. So let's take in front and start being vocal about this now before it is too late. I am finished speaking about this. This is a very serious issue and it's happening in real time. And you guys need to get out of your asses and pay attention to what's happening. Okay. Let's talk some boxing now. First, I'm going to talk about a fight I'm not really interested in, but I think a lot of you will be interested in. Alexis Rocha versus Giovanni Santillon. I'm not really interested in this fight, to be honest with you. Nothing about it makes me feel good. I know Alexis Rocha. He beat, what was the guy's name? Who did he beat? He almost beat Speedy Gonzalez. And I believe he beat the flamboyant guy. I forgot what his name is right now. The southpaw guy. He was in Top Rank. Not Top Rank. He was in Freddie Roach's gym. I forgot what his name is, but he beat the brakes off of him. He stopped him. Alexis Rocha is a solid, fighter, hard worker. Nothing fancy, nothing flamboyant. Good fighter. Golden Boy's pushing him and stuff. And Santillon is undefeated and good fighter. Again, Mexican style. Nothing, well, if you want to call it Mexican style. A rumbler, a guy who grinds, a hard worker, a guy who goes to the body, whatever. I'm not really interested in this fight. I know Mexicans will be very interested in the fight because there'll be lots of action and stuff. But see, for me, boxing's all about not so much how much you grind in a fight, but for me, it's about how much you can adjust and make changes and 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 understand what works for you and work that. For me, boxing's a thinking man sport. You know, I'm not saying that Alexis Rocha doesn't have skills and he's not a thinking boxer. I'm just saying that I feel like he is not interesting to me. Now, he'd be probably interesting to a lot of Mexican fighters and people like that. But for me, no. There's certain styles of fighting that do not interest me. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I juxtapose it with the other fight on DAZN. So this fight's on DAZN later on in the night. Early on in the day in the UK is another fight, which is Jorge Linares, a very skilled Venezuelan boxer with power, facing off against Jack Catterall, who's an excellent boxer. Should have won the fight against Josh Taylor. Should have been undisputed champion. But should be a very, very good fight. Jorge Linares is a legendary fighter. He's a 3-division world champion. He hasn't had a world title at 140. But he's a very, good, savvy, skilled fighter. I am sure Jorge will teach Jack Catterall a thing or two. But ultimately, in the end, I do expect Jack Catterall to win this fight because I think Jack Catterall brings certain things to the table that allow him, with his slickness and his ability to, offset the power of punches plus counter very well. I think Jack Catterall should win this fight and win it relatively easily because he has so much skill. Let's see what Jorge Linares and, of course, his great coach have up their sleeves to deal with a fighter like Jack Catterall, who is a very slick, tricky fighter. So we'll see what they have up their sleeve for that. But Mr. Salas, that is. But I do believe that in a fight like this, I think Jack Catterall should win it. He should. But you never know. With a crafty veteran like Jorge Linares, you never know. He did catch Devin Haney. You know what I mean? So you never know. With respect to upcoming fights, we have several upcoming fights that are very interesting and intriguing. Of course, Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis, very, very sharp, very explosive fighter. Yes, his footwork, he's more flat-footed because he wants to get more power and leverage in his shots. But he's sharp, he's very quick, he's explosive, and he's quite accurate. I do believe, though, that Devin's a big guy. I didn't know he was that big. But I do believe that Devin has what it takes to outbox Regis Prograis. Now, the thing about it is, there are a couple of caveats to this. And that's what makes this fight pretty interesting. One is that, what does Devin Haney's power look like? Will he be able to make Regis respect him so it'll be an easier night for him against Regis? And he can pick him apart. If Regis doesn't respect his power, Regis is going to be chasing him down the whole night. And yeah, he'll be landing some really nice, clean shots on Regis, but Regis is not going to be deterred by that, right? So there's that. That fight will be more of a moving fight. But again, Devin has different tools that even if he doesn't land the hardest punch, he can probably place his punches very well. But then again, we don't know. We'll have to see. Again, he got caught with the left hand against Lomachenko. Does he have really a good chin, or is it that he doesn't have a good chin? We'll see. He's going to get hit in this fight against Regis, and we'll know. I mean, will the weight cut affect Devin? Will Regis be befuddled by what Devin brings to the table? Because Regis talking about skill and skill and skill, and I don't know about that. I mean, Devin been doing this his whole life. I don't know if you more skilled than Devin. I don't think that's the way to fight this fight. That can make you trigger shy, You're not throwing the punches you're supposed to throw. Devin's already got you off beat. He's got you, what's the word I'm looking for? He can have you off balance, and then he just box your ass off and outbox you the whole night. Like how Richardson hitting, just pretty much outclassed Jose Zepeda. You call it a boring fight, but I call it an ass whooping. The guy just didn't get knocked out. So accumulation of punishment. So I'm very intrigued by this fight. I know he just likes to hurt people and stuff like that, but I know he's trying to sharpen up his defense and all of that, and he's talking all this stuff. But to be honest with you, now, who is the most dangerous person in the division right now? It is Regis Prograis. In terms of damaging people, right? I think Regis Prograis hits way harder than Teofimo Lopez. I think Teofimo Lopez hasn't knocked out anybody in that division. He actually got outboxed by Sando Martin. Then he faced, what's his name? Josh Taylor, and he was able to outbox Josh Taylor. But he hasn't really shown power at 140. And therefore, if Teofimo Lopez doesn't show that kind of power at 140, the question is, will Devin Haney show that kind of power at 140? That's the question, right? So we will see. But it's a very intriguing fight for me. Regis is, I think, and then Teofimo Lopez said he's still retired. So Teofimo Lopez doesn't know what he's doing. But Regis Prograis is the number one, I believe, right now. He's the number one. If Teo's not in the game right now, he is the number one lightweight in the division right now. Because Teo did beat Josh Taylor, even though it wasn't the Josh Taylor that faced Regis Prograis, he did beat Josh Taylor. He kind of outboxed him. So, and Josh Taylor's a good boxer. He's a good fighter. So, if Teo beating him really put Teo at the number one spot. But because Teo is saying we don't know if Teo's retired or if he's going to box again or whatever, his status is kind of up there in the air. Regis Prograis is the number one guy right now. Okay, if you ask me, 1, 2, 3, who were the top 3 super lightweights in the division right now? It would be Regis Prograis. It would be what's the guy's name? Let me see if I can get it. To turn on this phone. It would be the South American guy, I believe is his name. I just can't remember his name right now. But the South American guy. And if you guys know the South American guy's name, just let me know so I can say it. And also, I think Raleigh Romero might be somewhere in there because he's a champion, right? But you got many, right? You got Antoine Russell Jr. You got a couple of really good fighters on the rise. So we'll see how that Richardson, Hitchens, and so on. With respect to the fight that I'm really interested in, which is coming next month, November the 25th, which is Demetrius Andrade versus David Benavidez. That's a really nice fight. I'm going to tell you why. As Pro Boxing TV covered, and you heard all the boxers speak about it, I think that Demetrius Andrade is underrated. And because he hasn't been able to face the competition he wanted to face, he's an underrated fighter. So, unlike most of the people in Box TV who think that, Demetrius Andrade is going to fade late or whatever, and that will give David Benavidez the opportunity to win the fight, I actually believe that Demetrius Andrade brings to the table a lot of tools. A lot of tools. He can do it all. And so as a result of that, I actually see him, making David Benavidez look very, very ordinary. Very ordinary. And I mean, he's going to make him ordinary from round 1 all the way up to round 12. It's going to be a comprehensive win for Demetrius Andrade. He's going to make David Benavidez look ordinary. I know that sounds crazy for some people to think about, but you will see what I'm talking about when it happens. And I'm going to tell you why that's going to happen in this fight. The problem with David Benavidez is his feet. That's his problem. Yes, you can cut off the ring. Yes, you have a decent jab. You have, decent explosiveness as well, quick hand speed and all that. But your feet are just, you're going to be so many steps behind Demetrius Andrade. If Caleb Plant was giving you the kinds of problems that you were having early on in the fight. Yes, you caught up with Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant was trying to do this clinch thing. Demetrius Andrade is going to completely discombobulate you, and he's going to confuse you. You're not going to even know what to do. You are David Benavidez, who's a guy who generally is a very aggressive fighter. His punch output is going to fall in this fight against Demetrius Andrade, and he's going to be befuddled. He's not going to find Demetrius Andrade at any point in time, and Demetrius Andrade is going to be hitting him at will in this fight. And I know this sounds crazy. Y'all are going to look at me like you lost your mind. Boo Boo is going to do something like, well, he's not going to stop David Benavidez. David Benavidez is a tough guy. But Boo Boo's going to get David Benavidez's respect. Boo Boo's got that punching power, okay? He's going to get David Benavidez's respect. And now he's going to get his respect. He's going to confuse him the entire night. The entire night. He's going to push David Benavidez back. David Benavidez was going to be boxing on the back foot in this fight. Right? That's what I do think. I think Demetrius Andrade has to push him back, has to make him uncomfortable, because David likes to be the one dictating. He likes to be the one on the front foot. And from what I've seen in 2 fights that David Benavidez had, one was against, what's the guy's name? I can't remember right now, from Mayweather Promotions. And the other one was a Colombian guy who was big and strong. You keep your 2 guard up, and you walk to him. And you push him back with your jab. And let's see how he fights off the back foot. And he can fight pretty good off the back foot, but you gotta push him back. Let him know you the boss. Don't let him do what he likes to do best. Take that away from him. Push him back. And I'm telling you, Andrade is a strong guy. So Andrade, I believe, can do that. And that's what he needs to do with David Benavidez. And we're going to have a very interesting fight from then on in. You know, a lot of people do not know that Demetrius Andrade can fight in the phone booth. He's very versatile. He can fight in the phone booth. He has been dropped a couple times. But he can fight in the phone booth. He can fight toe-to-toe. He can fight in-out. He's got really good defense. And like I said before, Canelo Alvarez is a guy would beat David Benavidez. He beat him. Now, if little Canelo, I say little Canelo because he's short compared to, Demetrius Andrade. If little Canelo, he not little, but you know what I'm saying. If short Canelo would beat David Benavidez, he'd get under his punches and just beat him up. Get to the body and beat him up. If he could do that to David Benavidez, what do you think Demetrius Andrade is going to do to him? 35-year-old Demetrius Andrade. Y'all going to be shocked. Because Demetrius Andrade not going to fight the fight that y'all think he's going to fight. He's going to have to fight on the front foot to push David Benavidez back. David Benavidez don't do really good on the back foot. He can't really produce the offense he wants on the back foot. He got a good jab. Good timing and stuff with his jab. But if Andrade, you remember, a jab against a southpaw is a totally different thing to a jab against an orthodox fighter. So there's different angles and everything. So if Demetrius Andrade take away that jab from him, start to come fuffle him, I mean, it'll look like a veteran versus a novice. That Benavidez is not going to look good entire night. And Demetrius Andrade knows this, right? Now, Demetrius Andrade talking about keeping him at bay. Yes, you keep him at a certain distance, but you want to actually do some work on the inside. And David really throws nice combinations, everything on the inside too. And he's good with his flurries and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, Andrade ain't nobody to play with, man. So that's my thoughts on it. I think actually that Andrade is going to put on a really great, exceptional performance. Might drop David Benavidez, might not drop him, might catch him with a check hook or something, run him into a check hook or something. But I'm telling you right now that Andrade ain't nobody to play with. And after Andrade beats David Benavidez, Canelo is going to get Canelo's attention, and then Canelo's going to have to decide if he wants to face David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade or not. I said it. I'm not repenting about what I said. I've been wrong before, so it's possible I could be wrong. But if David Benavidez were to beat Demetrius Andrade, he deserved the Canelo fight. He deserved any fight because he would have beaten a fighter better than Canelo, in my opinion. Even though he's not as active as Canelo. That's the only problem. But I think when you got those kinds of skill sets and stuff like that, I just think that you're a superior fighter to the other guy. David Benavidez is still learning on the job. He's got great jab, cuts off the ring really nicely, has nice flirts when he closes the distance. You know, leads with the right hand, leads with the left hand, you lead with either hand. Um, he's got nice little steps that he does, his little footwork to try and cut off things or to slide in, close the distance really quickly. He has a nice in and out movement as well. He can fight in close quarters, medium range. Really good stuff. Likes to throw a lot of combinations when he's there. And when he gets going, it's great. But if Demetrius Andrade prevents him from getting going, prevents him from going on the front foot, which he prefers to do than go on the back foot, push him back, you know, work his body, go body, head, mix it up, feint him, throw feints and stuff like that, make himself unpredictable, frustrate him, he gonna beat David Benavidez. Hands down, he gonna beat him. Because David Benavidez don't bring all that stuff to the table. You know, the only thing I got against Demetrius Andrade is he's not as cerebral a fighter as I would like him to be. He's got a lot of skills. Sometimes he do some really not very smart things in the ring. That's why he gets dropped or whatever. And the guys get back into fights. But if he can not be a front runner and pace himself, but yet pick David Benavidez apart, he'll win this fight easy. It'll be easy work. David Benavidez got lots of flaws in his game. He's got good conditioning, but he got lots of flaws in his game. And David, you know, it's like it's gonna be a feast for Demetrius. And Demetrius Andrade can see that. He just got to be in great shape, great condition, so he can maintain a certain pace, maybe even increase the intensity of the pace as the fight goes along. To really put on exceptional performance against David Benavidez, who nobody really wants to face, and come out looking good. I mean, David Benavidez to me is custom made for Demetrius Andrade. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. That's my feeling. I don't know if I'm right, but we'll see. But that's an exciting fight. Two avoided fighters, undefeated, and you know, winner should face Canelo. I think even though Andrade don't have the experience, I think he is the biggest threat to Canelo, in my opinion. I think he's a bigger threat than Dimitri Bivol, but we will see. He has to first handle David Benavidez, and if he handles David Benavidez like I think he could, then I truly believe, you know, he should be able to beat Canelo, and then he would get the just due that he deserves to get. Because Canelo now is a shorter fighter. Demetrius Andrade will be fighting a shorter fighter, you know, much more tricky, you know, fighter. But again, a guy whose cardio is not always on point, a guy who kind of depends on his power somewhat to sort of discipline fighters and get him into gauge. So I think that would be a great fight for Demetrius Andrade right after. But so that's what I think. Okay, I think Devin Haney is going to beat Regis Prograis, but it's not going to be an easy fight. I think that Demetrius Andrade is going to make it look easy against David Benavidez, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for either guy either. That's what I got with that. And I'm really excited about that. And I heard Keith Thurman's fighting Santillon. I'm not really interested in that fight either. But I just had to say it so I could cover it. Other fights that might be on the horizon for the fighters, or other fights that are possible. I think in 2024, I'm hearing that Keith Thurman will face Santillon. I'm hearing that Showtime, the contract with Showtime and PBC is going to be up because Showtime's not going to be covering boxing anymore. I guess that is a decision by Paramount, which has bought over Showtime. They don't want to continue with boxing content, which is okay. I'm sure PBC will find, they already have Fox, but I'm sure they're going to find another service provider to put their platform, their premier boxing platform on. So we'll find out in time. But Stephen F. Espinosa did a great thing for boxing. The zone boxing is okay. You know, I don't want to talk about what happened over the weekend with the, you know, with these YouTube boxing. I don't want to talk about that. So I'm not going to talk about it. If you guys want to bring it up, you can bring it up. Other things in boxing that I probably didn't cover before, and you guys can remind me about. But this is basically it. I just wanted to make sure I got this video down with you guys. I am what you need. I'm telling you guys, peace now, and you guys have a good one. Peace. All right, that's one.